today we're going to look at washing technical clothing and how I do it. Now, if there's anyone who's got any tips and tricks out there, leave some comments, because it'd be interesting to find out how other people wash them. It's not difficult at all. It's pretty standard washing based on videos I've seen from manufacturers. Like my particular outer shell is an Arc'teryx one, which I've had for a number of years now, and I think a lot of people don't tend to wash their outerwear that often, or reproof them with a DWR, and then think, I've spent a lot of money on this clothing and then now it's not working after a year or two, or even more. And with any technical clothing, you do need to look after it. It does need to, if you're using it regularly especially, you do need to wash it regularly, reapply DWR. Things like, especially on mine where you've had your rucksacks on, I tend to find it wets on the shoulders a lot and on the back where it's been rubbing against the material. So you do need to look after them, but if you do look after them, especially when I wash mine, reapply the DWR, it feels like a brand new jacket again once that's all done. So it is definitely worth keeping on top of it and keeping things washed and cleaned regularly, especially if you're using things like GORE-TEX as well. Sweat and oils from your skin will block the GORE-TEX and stop it working as it should do. So that's another reason to wash them regularly. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I know parts of my jacket are wetting because I've noticed it the last few times when it's been raining quite heavily, but just to get a good idea on how much it's wetting, we're going to take a shower. That should give us a real good idea. So I'll see you in the bathroom and we'll see if there's any wetting and how much wetting there is while having a shower. If we take a look at this, you can see there's been quite a bit of wetting on the arms, on the shoulder areas here, also on the front area. Got a few wet patches there. Again on the arms, loads on the cuff, but you can see where that's quite dirty anyway. If we turn it over, you can see we've got quite a bit of wetting on the back. There's also some dirt marks there where I think I've been rubbing with something. On the back here, generally again, that's where a rucksack's been lying. And again on the shoulders, and we've got a bit of wetting on the hood there as well, and on the front. Right then, we've got, I've put my jacket and also my waterproof pants in there. The waterproof pants weren't too bad, but I just wanted to give them a quick wash anyway. This is what I use. There's Nick Wax as well, is a very good one, but I tend to use Granger's. I've used Granger's Fab Sil and various products over the years, so I tend to use this. So this particular one is a wash and repel, so it's a 2-in-1, which means it's got a technical wash with it, and it's also got a DWR as well. So this one, generally, you could kill two birds with one stone, wash and add the DWR in one go. So that's at the moment washing in there. When you're washing, you do want to make sure you follow any manufacturer's labels. My particular ones, I know I've always washed these at 40 degrees and they've been perfectly fine. But on your clothing, you do want to just check and make sure you are washing it to the specifications. Also, I'll turn the spin down a little bit so it's not getting spun around too much. And I will also give it an extra rinse at the end of the cycle just to make sure any of that wash is definitely out. Also, don't overload. Don't try and do a load of items in one go. With the Grangers, you add 2 capfuls per item for the first item, and then a capful for any additional items after that. I tend to do 2 capfuls per item. So in this case, I've got my jacket and my pants in, so I just put 4 capfuls in. And we'll come back when that's all washed. Right, so now it's all washed. One thing I forgot to mention is they always seem to recommend when you're washing your items, make sure all the zips are zipped up. Things like your cuffs are all loosened off as well. Just as a little extra side note. So we're going to stick these in the dryer. Now there's various ways of drying. You can either air dry it. Now to activate the DWR, it generally does need some sort of heat. Now there's a couple of ways of doing that. You can either dry it on a radiator low to add some heat. You can just dry it naturally, and then you can get a towel and then iron over on a low heat over the towel over the jacket or pants. In my case, our dryer has this waterproof Revitalize, which is essentially just a low setting, a low warm setting. So it provides the amount of heat to dry it, activate the DWR, but it's not too hot so that it's going to damage the material. So that's what I'm going to do now, is dry it all off. Okay, so now we've dried it off. That should have activated that DWR. And what I like to do then is I also have the Granger's Repel Plus, which is just specifically a DWR coating. So what I like to do then is, on the instructions it says to put this on while the garment's wet, which I've done in the past, but I found probably the last year or two when I've been cleaning, I tend to now dry it just before it's totally dry, so it's still just ever so slightly damp, and then I like to put this in the areas where it was wetting most, and I'll use a soft brush just to get that excess moved around. So I'll tend to do it in the areas where I know it wets a lot, so on the shoulders. And with it being just slightly damp, it's easier as well to see where I'm actually putting this. For things like under the arms, I'll do a bit where you're likely to rub. I'll tend to do all the edges as well. And on the arms, especially where you're creasing the elbow, I'll tend to put a bit more in there. And then I will definitely concentrate on the cuff areas as well. See, that wash didn't actually get all that staining out, so next time I will probably I won't be using any stain remover. I'll just use some non-bleach detergent just to try and concentrate on the area a little bit more. the elbow areas here. And then we'll do the back of the shoulders. And the back where it was wetting as well. From the pack rubbing. Make sure you get plenty on. And then just mix it all down. And then this will just go straight back in the dryer again. Now it's all dry. And you can just feel, even when you're putting it on, that it feels different, which will be all the coating. So now we're going to try and have another shower and see what happens. You can see already the water's rolling off a lot better than it was. This is the DWR. See the pan. So there you go, you can see that DWR has really worked. I think partly that is that extra, putting that extra bit of DWR spray on, especially those areas like the shoulders and the elbows and the back area, which get a lot more rubbing of the material from things like backpacks. So I'm happy with that. Until the next wash, and until the next time, we'll see you soon.